So interest rates are looking to possibly go up here in June. What do you do? Well, I'm in this scenario. I'm on a variable rate mortgage myself, and I can maybe take 2 more increases, and then like I myself would probably start to happen a little bit.
Yeah.
And so now I'm in the scenario. What do I do? Done the math. It's going to cost me about $5,000 to break my current mortgage. And I will make that back and then some with a new mortgage rate over the course of 13 months.
Right.
So I have to pray that nothing drops over the next, year and a half for it to make sense for me, which the way things are going, it seems like they will go that way. If they are like debating on an increase, and the reason why they're debating the increase is because there was a slight uptick in inflation this past quarter. So that's where I'm thinking right now.
Didn't the states recently increase too?
I think they just recently held.
Did they? Okay.
They held. But they will be increasing again though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking like, it's mortgages, it's people with like large lines of credit.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at it and like one of the stipulations for us buying our house and getting our mortgage was that we had to have our line of credit paid off. And I just really hadn't thought of much about it because it's a $50,000 line of credit and we had like $200 on it or something stupid. And then when I looked at it, I was like, this is at like 9% like interest. Like this is nuts. And like, I'm just thinking like if people are up against it and they're using their lines of credit to help like pay for everyday things like groceries and, just living expenses, like the ridiculous rents that people are paying. Because I know a couple of people in that situation where one of their partners lost their job or are in school or doing something to try and like better their life, but can't work. They're screwed and they're using credit to try and make up the difference. And so every interest rate hike is it's devastating.
Yeah. I mean, it's a savage thing to say, but it's the reality of the game is the goal of the Bank of Canada is they will keep jacking up interest rates until they quell inflation. What's one of the key signs of quelling inflation is the unemployment rate spikes. And I think that's essentially they're going to increase until people start losing their jobs and for it to start making sense on paper.
Yeah.
So it's going to get ugly.
It is going to be ugly. And then you have to think like, how is that better? You know what I mean? Like, I know runaway inflation is not great, but how is it better to have people out of work, people not able to afford the essentials, like people like, because you're hurting a certain part of the population, and that's the lower half of the middle class and below.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like the upper class and upper middle class are going to be okay. Like the upper middle class might feel it a lot more, but it's that middle part of the middle class and below that are really, really going to suffer. And that's most of Canada.
Yeah.
No wonder people don't want to come here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. People caught on. That's why that when we start off with that stat, I found that really interesting. I find that the potential immigrants are starting to catch on that Canada's not all it's cracked up to be. And there's a big departure that's happening too amongst immigrants. They're leaving as well. So
yeah, I'm watching that happen in my friend group right now. I've got a friend. She's from mainland China and married a Nova Scotian. And they're both looking at like actually going back to China.
No way.
And I'm like, guys, like it seems a little risky right now where like China and the United States are kind of like at each other a little bit.
Hedging their bets, baby.
Yeah. And they're like, it just doesn't make sense. They're like, we can make so much more going back over there with the educations that we have from here.
Wow.
That like, it doesn't make sense. We can sell our house here for a mint and go over there and like basically have servants that they can hire.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's nuts.
Yeah. And it's like that in a lot of places too.
Yeah.
Obviously it's, America's seen like their issues as well. But, even the time I spent down there over the weekend, it's like their groceries are still cheaper down there than it are up here, and it's just that exchange rate was a little killer this weekend.
Yeah. But don't talk about milk though.
True. Yeah. So that's what we're thinking in terms of the interest rates. We're seeing another spike, so be prepared. If you're in a scenario where it's like, I don't know if I can take one more, you're on a variable rate, do the math for yourself and your situation, see what makes sense. I had to do that for myself, and I'll probably be executing on that here in the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, and be mindful of what big purchases are coming in your life. Like, I know that the Taylor Swift tickets are enticing, but if that's gonna be a make or break for you, like it's those hard decisions. And I think that's what's going to happen is you're just going to see people like, I don't eat out as much anymore because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so it's just like things like that you're just going to start to see like start to dwindle away. And I think one of the biggest things like through these like difficult times is, again, that idea of community is like just starting to like put the call out to your friends and stuff and being like, you know, we can do things other than going out to eat, going out for drinks, like just hanging out, making sure that you're there for each other, supporting each other, because people are going to be feeling a lot of stress. They're going to be feeling a lot of anxiety about like what's coming. So it's, you need to rely on your people. You need to rely on your community, because that's what's going to get you through some of these situations.
Totally. You know, and yeah, do the old rural Canada thing, man. Just go for a drive in the country for a bit, hang out, you know, have a drink.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt this episode, but if you could all like, comment, and subscribe, it truly helps us out in the long run. We look at all the comments and the feedback, and it means the world to us. Thanks for watching.